going to show you how to make a deck using Call of the Sea, specifically using the Rokea deck. I stuck all the cards for it conveniently in a card pool. So what I'm going to do is, which is going to be linked down in the description here. So I'm going to browse, pull up the Rokea sealed deck, choose that. That's going to load all of the cards that would appear in the right quantities in the deck if you printed it at home, which has all the characters and from the Rokea printed, and then it's got the combat pack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of them to the deck using this thing down here. Boop, they all go in here. And then this is a semi-constructed deck. Really what you're doing is you're actually going to edit down the deck to get to where you're going to get to. I know vaguely what I'm going to do, so this is going to go real fast, because I've done this many times. So I want to make a 20 renown deck with relatively small characters, so I'm going to take these characters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort them by renown, so it's easy to find. I'm going to come over here, sort them by type, and so they're quickly in renown order here. And then I'm going to get rid of Bleed's Knight. Oops, the Shoals, you're too big. And I need to get to 20, so I'm going to take the 6, another 6, 5. I'm going to get rid of you because you don't quite add, and keep the 2 and the 1, even though he's actually a Bokole. If you want to look at the other side to see what they look like, double click on them and you'll see what their abilities are on there. A lot of the characters in these, in fact, do have different abilities on their other side. So here's Hides and Seaweed, who's a Bokole, has a look fun, little boring splat, kind of not really an ability. Flip them over to the other side, you see their actual ability. They count as a Rokea, that's why they're in the Rokea deck. And No Prey Remains is the one that's really relevant, because they actually have an ability that kicks in when they go to Krynos, that specific thing. So, what we're doing is we're going to edit down. Now, the easy thing with the combat pack for Call of the Sea actually has cards in it that you could use in any of the 3 decks that are in Call of the Sea. The easy way to tell which one they were originally intended to be in is if you look in the upper left-hand corner here, you'll see one of the glyphs. This is the Rokea glyph. If you look over at this one, that's the Troloria one, and there's the Seagull deck one. The easy way to do this the first time is if you include 2 of each for the ones that are marked as these work best in this deck, you end up with you end up with 12 cards. So you're about more than halfway done with building your deck, and then you just fill it in with the rest. So what I want to do is I want to look at, as I flipped over some of these people, I can look at, this one here is Krynos Rage. The screen is really small, so it's a little hard to tell, but that's their rage, so I can tell what's the rage that maximum rage of something you can use. So I've got over here, your maximum rage is 1, 1, 7, 5, and 4, so I probably don't want too many big cards, and then their rage in breed form is 1, 1, 5, 3, and 2. No Prey Remains has quite a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, look real quick, and I know what combat event I specifically want to use in here. I definitely want to use my favorite combat event. I can find you. If it looks like I'm flipping through these very fast, it's because I am. I know what I'm doing. You probably want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to use Circle of Death, which is specifically Rokea specific. I'm going to get rid of all of these, so I'm just going to boop, get rid of all those, because that required a boat. They're not going to do that. I might want to use Dragoneath. I might want to use Rally the Battle. I haven't decided yet. But I'm going to quick look at this. And the events on here. Like I said, any of these can really be used in the deck, but some of them work better in a specific deck that could get rid of you. Get rid of... I like you, but I don't like you that much. That... everything is dumped right now into the main deck, so just to tighten things up. Throw the characters over in the actual characters panel where they belong. Start doing that. Do I really want to keep that? Do I like Bar the Way? I love Bar the Way. It's great. I'm going to keep that one. Bloodlust. It's a Rokea specific one. Yeah, I'm definitely keeping that. Dismember. That's from the Sea Dogs deck. I love Dismember though. It's great. Obviously there's a Rokea on it, so hey, you know what? Let's do that. Shoot is also great. Let's do that. Iron Skin, as you can see up in the corner, that's a Rokea deck specific one, so I'm definitely keeping that. Haven't decided yet. I think I only have one character that can naturally play that. Yes, there is only in fact one character that can naturally play that. Up here, which was Sever. You can see it's from the Rokea deck. It goes better with the big characters. I only have one character that can naturally play it, so I'm going to get rid of it, actually. Thrash. Vicious Assault. That's actually pretty useful. You can see the numbers ticking up on the combat deck as Doug get the... Make sure I put Circle of Death in here. Circle of Death is amazing. I love it so much. Yeah, Popen, we'll put that in there. Wild Flailing, Sudden Impediment. Alright, so 16 combat cards. I need a minimum of 20. I'm going to throw everybody in because I think it's funny. It's pretty decent too. Sudden Impediment. Let's take Thrash. I have some relatively low characters, so now I've got 20. I could throw some more in. It's not really going to do me much good, so I'm going to get rid of the rest of the combat cards. I love Drag Beneath, but it's a little confusing to use this. So, alright, so now I still have 60 Sept cards. I want to get this down closer to 30, so I'm going to come back, look at my characters again, and I can come over here and I can look at their Gnosis. Dreamtide's Hunter has Gnosis 8, you've got 6, you've got 2, 4, 2, so theoretically use anything. The Whale Roar Call is great. It does bump that up. They also are relapsing, so they'll get shuffled back into your deck. They're really hard to get rid of. Definitely need to keep the enemy. Health is always good. This is technically unique though, so I probably don't need that many. I'm going to take one out for now. Flagon is for that. Mertrident. +2 Rage and -2 Gnosis. Are you gonna help me that much? I haven't decided. Miscommunication I'm just gonna get rid of for the moment. Shark. Cannot pass off action. Maybe. I don't need like 3 of them, so I'm gonna take 1 out for now. Wound Undersea. I can use that, but I've only got 1 character that can use it. The Whale Roar Call do Crushing Death, definitely want to keep. It's a very useful combat gift. Swim Undersea. So I can use it to attack my enemies, but unless I'm playing specifically with the aquatic specific group, I'm going to run out of things, so I'm actually going to take 2 of those out. Crushing Depth is always useful. Whirlpool's Maw. It's really handy because you can use it to wreck people's shit and their ship. Both. Too many things in here. That's really fun. Shivering Shield is great. There's a lot of really great cards for Rokea. They're all really fun. I don't know if there's going to be any of those. You know what? I'm going to make my life simple, and I'm going to take the moots out. I love them, but I don't, which means I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to get rid of the old flagon entirely, because that was related to moot votes. Survival is always useful to have. Black Shark is really more useful with the bigger characters, so I'm going to get rid of that. Ocean Peace requires a nuisance of 6. You get +2 rage and +2 health. Facing non-aquatic opponents, which is almost likely always going to be your other thing unless you're specifically playing that. Pit of Demons. It's very useful for letting you flip things. Submarine Canyon. Man, there's so much great stuff in here. But 44 cards is way too many cards in this deck. Alright, I'm going to get rid of the Mertrident because I think the other one's going to be more useful to me. Little weenies. No, let's get rid of Shark too. Of these, wait, let me look at the Betweeners. They're unique. They're a victim, which normally Gaia packs couldn't attack for points, but it specifically Rokea will gain points for attacking them. But they're unique, so I'm going to get rid of 2 of them. I don't need that many of them out, and you can only play 1 copy of a unique card at a time. Only one of them can be out. Ocean's Peace. I only have 2 characters that can use it. That. Pit of Demons is useful for everything. Submarine Canyon is great, but gets really crazy with lots of cards, so I'm going to take one of them out. Survival is great. I love it. But I will probably only need 2. Shaggy's Shield. How many characters do I have that can use it? I've been looking at Gnosis. One of you can't use it, but I love it so much. Shaggy's Shield is great because it blocks 1 against every damage card coming in. Form of the Sea. You know, I'm going to get rid of these higher Gnosis ones that are Gnosis 6. The Rorqual will bump them, but it's a little bit of a timing of do I get them at the right time, and I'd really like to get this card deck down to 30 cards because it Mooned Undersea is useful, but not as useful if I'm not fighting an opponent, so I'm going to take 2 of them out, and there we go, I'm at 30 cards. So as you see, that was really just a subtractive process. You can build a completely, totally different deck out of this card pool using the big characters. Instead, you can do them slightly differently. To do that, all of the Call of the Sea decks, the three decks in it, were built to have multiple valid builds out of them that are basically, you build them via subtraction instead of addition, so they're a lot easier to learn to build a good deck out of. That once you make the character choices of what of these characters in this deck do I want to make, it's going to naturally guide you towards what creatures make sense, what cards make sense to keep in the deck, and which cards you're going to get out of the deck, instead of having, you know, a potential 1,000 cards you could put in the deck. You only have a few. So it's going to guide you into about 3 valid builds for each of the decks. I personally love the Circle of Death build for Rokea, and I'm going to specifically tell you about Circle of Death because it's kind of relevant. So this is play at the beginning of combat or between rounds to add up to 2 Rokea or 2 Ajaba to this combat, and you create a action. If you added any creatures to the combat, you draw 2 combat cards. Okay, simple enough. Draw a combat card during the withdrawal step of each combat. For each combat action by a pack member that did no damage when it is resolved this round. So anytime they dodge or block damage from you, you get to draw a new card. So you can just continue pounding on them. You also get to draw a card when you successfully blocked damage and didn't do any damage to someone else. The only downside is you can't draw cards for frenzies. There are no frenzies in the Rokea deck, but Circle of Death is so great, especially with these little weenie characters that you have that all have pretty useful combat abilities to use in a mid-renown pack action that are just really great. And that's really it. And with the card pool feature, you can also see this little thing down here that says Verify Deck. If I clicked that and I had cards in it that weren't supposed to be there, it would tell me that.